question. You're talking about stirring it. Do you need a pitchfork to stir it with or something?
Pitchfork or a shovel.
That's what we recommend. What if you can't lift that?
You can take it by, you can take the boards off, and then you can also take, you don't have to like start from the bottom to lift that whole entire pile. You can start from the top.
Like she's saying, with taking these off, like if it's all the way up here, you can like take these first two out, if they come out.
And then just
And
kind of
then
work
just,
on
like,
stirring
just, like,
this and
slide
have a
it.
little more
Yeah.
front access.
If there's not, like when you're filling it to stir it, if there's not as much, you can take, like I said, you can take these out and like mix it up. So it won't be as difficult. But these are hard to get out sometimes, so
You just pull it straight up.
Do you have to worry, like whatever you stir it with, whether it be pitchfork or shovel, and it pulls the metal mesh stuff around it?
The metal mesh stuff is really, really, really strong. It was really quite difficult to even bend it, just to put it in place. And that's why we had to staple it with actually like, not just a regular staple gun, like a hammer, like metal
the
staples.
hammer staples into
And
it.
if you do end up sticking, if you're using a pitchfork and you end up sticking the tines into the holes on the mesh, just like, and you can feel that, oh, it's in there, just pull it back and
Yeah, it's
it
not
should
going to
be
make
fine.
a big, huge hole or dent or anything. It's pretty small.
There's no floor to our compost bin, it'll just sit right on the ground. So you shouldn't need to worry too much about stabbing a hole through the bottom because
There
isn't one.
anything to stab through.
When you use paper, like, is it just black paper? Can you use any different kind of paper?
You can't use any glossy papers,
Or like heavily printed paper.
like newspapers. I don't think we should use newspapers because there's a lot of ink on it.
Worms
just
can handle
regular.
the newspapers and the like magazine type papers, what we mean by glossy, where it's all shiny and colorful. But the colored inks and some of the chemicals in newspaper can kill all the bacteria in our bin, and that would be bad because then we'd just have a big pile of mush.
You can use just like if you have like printer paper, like white paper, you can use that because that doesn't have any ink or anything on it.
If that sits on the ground, do you have how are you going to keep the skunks out? Because they will dig underneath, especially if you're putting food waste in there.
I was wondering that too. I never got the answer.
We can probably put just a piece like a board on the bottom, just like.
Or a little more hardware cloth and stick that down underneath.
If you do composting right, it does not attract any
Yeah.
species. It's been proven. I know. I was trying to get that to say that.
It shouldn't really get any animals in as long as you keep the meat and dairy and stuff out, or fats and oils, so you wouldn't want like ranch dressing or something in there. But as long as you just keep it to plant parts, you should be okay.
And with you guys are probably wondering with like keeping the heat in it, because it's so open. The bacteria in it is what keeps the heat like going. Right? Yeah. So we don't really have to worry about that because as long as you got bacteria in there, and it's like, why are you laughing? You weren't laughing.
She's always laughing at us. When it's ready, it will start to cool down to about whatever the outside temperature is, because, well, it's still composting and the bacteria in there are munching on everything and turning it into compost and breaking it down. It's going to be generating a lot of heat, be really warm, steaming. If it's out on the playground in the winter, it should still be warm enough, so you might actually see like steam coming out from under the lid, or ice would like melt on it.
And it'll look brown like dirt. It's not gonna, you won't be able to see like the fruits and vegetables you put in it. It'll all be one big.
And it's not going to be like, I know it says it's going to be between 140 to 160 degrees, but more than likely, since it is winter, it's not going to get that hot, and it's not going to be so hot that you can't touch it, you know. So when it's finished, you're going to be able to.
The stuff on the surface should be cooler, but the stuff inside in the center of the pile is where it gets so hot. So when you stir it, it'll steam and warm air will come out, and then that'll cool and the inside will start to warm up again now that you've switched everything around.
And where is it gonna be?
Kind of down by the garbage.
It's going to be down there.
Like, yeah, but we're still, like, okay. The garbage bin down there and how it's kind of dented into the ground and has, like, the wood boards on the sides, we were thinking that we could just stick it down in there behind the garbage bin, but that might be harder to access, so maybe setting up just next to on the ground.
Now, if you put a bottom on it, would you put wheels on it?
Possibly.
It's just the difficulty of actually flipping it over and getting the wheels on, because it is
Empty.
quite extremely
Empty
heavy.
with no bottom and no lid on currently. This took 3 people to
Even
move over
without
here.
the slats, it is very heavy to get. So that would be a problem.
Since you're using that much money, what if you don't fill that much back? What are you gonna do?
Well, we'll probably be in trouble. But it should be able to, like selling compost, we should eventually be able to make that back. The reason we went, like the reason these 3 are the best, the worm bins are kind of, you can just fit them anywhere really because they're smallish and the worms do most of the work for you. The rolling bin, it's pretty easy to turn, you just spin it. And this one we decided on because it has a really, really, really big storage space just inside each bin. And all 3 of them, you can compost a lot of compostable material in a very short amount of time. It gets stuff done the quickest and it handles a large volume of it. Anybody else?
When it's finished composting, will there be like more room
I'm sorry, man.
when it's finished composting, will the less?
Yes.
Like,
If
are
you
you-
fill all this up as you compost, it shrinks and some of it's turned into gases and energy for the bacteria and stuff. So if it started out this big all the way through, it might end up at the end coming to like there. It's going to shrink down to about, what was it, like 1/3 of the original size of everything you put in.
Yeah, because
Considering
you have
everything
the
gets broken
piles.
down, it's not going to be all like,
Exactly.
you're not going to have everything you put into it. You won't be able to see any
You will
of
be
it.
pulling less compost out than you put materials in.
Yeah.